everybody. This is Ray Renati, and you've reached Green Room on Air. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Palo Alto, California. Now you know where I live. Don't stalk me. If you stalk me, I'll be upset, and you don't want that. No, siree, Bob. How's it? How you doing? I hope you're having a great day, as I said already. This is the day after our President of the United States, the first president in this country to ever be indicted in a criminal investigation. I think that like Grover Cleveland or something was indicted for running over somebody in a horse carriage or something. But yeah, this is like the most significant one. Nixon was never indicted. He may have been, but he was pardoned by Gerald Ford. And I remember the day that Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon. I think it was during one of the hockey games in the Olympics when the U.S. men's hockey team beat the Russians. Yes, I think he did it during that, if I remember correctly. I was a very young man at the time. Now, boy, if you know, I'll just talk about this a little bit. If you don't get it, here's what it is, because I did some reading today. There are 34 counts of a low-level felony against Donald Trump for hiding transactions, misappropriating or mislabeling transactions that were basically bribes or hush money as legal expenses. So his fixer attorney, Michael Cohen, created these false invoices for Trump to cover up money that he gave to Stormy Daniels, the porn star. Why are women who do porn all called stars? I don't know. She's the only one I know of. They're not stars. Anyway, that's another subject. I digress. Anyway, yeah, so yeah. Michael Cohen paid her off to shut up for Trump, and then he paid Michael Cohen back as if he was paying money to Michael Cohen for services rendered as an attorney when he was just paying him back for the money that he gave to Stormy Daniels for her to keep her mouth shut. And the problem with this is that, and anyway, the alleged law that was broken is that he was doing this to gain an advantage in the 2016 election so that people wouldn't see him in a bad light. So I guess that's illegal. And then they're also going to bring in this Playboy model. I can't remember her name in the moment, who was paid off by the National Enquirer. And apparently whoever owned the National Enquirer was a friend of Trump, I think. And the National Enquirer paid off the Playboy model who had an alleged affair with Donald Trump. And then they quashed the story. And so that's how that didn't get out. And then also there was a doorman at one of Trump's hotels who claimed that Trump had a illegitimate child. And they also used the National Enquirer to pay off this gentleman. Apparently, though, that turned out to be false. It seems that there was no illegitimate child. So I guess it's illegal to do this. I think it comes down to, I don't even really understand this, but it's illegal campaign contributions. So using money to affect the campaign, not disclosing it, is illegal. It has nothing to do with him having an affair or anything like that. That's personal stuff. It just has to do with how he handled the information. So apparently that's what this is. In my opinion, it's kind of weak. I mean, he's done so many other things that are way worse. This is wrong, but it's nothing like inciting a riot on January 6th, where several police officers were killed and apparently one citizen, and then sitting around and doing nothing about it for over 2 hours and watching it on television and encouraging people to kill Mike Pence and all that. It's nothing compared to trying to pressure in the perfect phone call, another perfect phone call, trying to pressure the governor. I think it was not governor, the attorney general. Who was it, of a state where he, come on fellas, I just need 11,574 more votes. Come on, can't you just find those? Nothing compared to that stuff. But I don't know. Politics. Is it political? Of course it's political. Everything's always political in some way. But that doesn't mean he didn't break the law. I was watching Fox News yesterday when I was over at my parents' house. I was trying not to watch, but I found it interesting how they were painting Trump as a victim. That's amazing to me. That Trump is not a victim. Trump has caused so many problems for himself. He looks for it. He loves it. It's so clear. Just watch his behavior. And then he's, oh, I'm the victim here. They've been so unfair, those crazy Democrats. Evil Hillary. Ron DeSanctimonious. Anyway, the guy's a nut. He's a grifter, and he's a con artist. Hey, we'll see what happens. History's being made right before our very eyes. Yeah. Boy, I'm 61 years old. I have a lot of pain. I have arthritis all over the place. I got arthritis in my back. I got arthritis in my knees. I've had 2 knee surgeries, one in each knee. My left knee, I've had ACL reconstruction. In my right knee, I had a meniscus removed along with 40% of all the cartilage in my knee. That's the one that gives me the most problem. I get these stinging pains whenever I try to ride my bike, and I just try to live with it. And then I have all kinds of arthritis in my lower back and in my hips, and it hurts quite a bit, especially when I get up from like lying down or sitting. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going to fall over. It's so much fun getting old and falling apart. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Today, I mentioned to my doctor a couple days ago that I was having this lightheadedness. And I guess when you had heart disease in your family, my brother passed away at a young age from massive heart attack, and my grandfather had all kinds of heart problems. So whenever I mention anything that could possibly be around my heart or a stroke or anything like that, I was having some lightheadedness for a couple of weeks here and there for no reason. Oh my God. So it's like EKG, blood test, make an appointment with the neurologist. I have to call my cardiologist. Well, you know what? At least I have good doctors who care. But God, you're going in for what you think is a 15-minute appointment, and 3 hours later, you're finally going home. Folks, be careful about alcohol. I've had so many friends over the years pass away, kaput, kick le bucket, because they drank too much. Liver cancer, cirrhosis of the liver. That's been the two things. And now I have a friend in the hospital who has cirrhosis of the liver. I think that's what it is. And I don't think he has much longer. And I've been visiting him, and it's horrific. You don't want this. So if you drink, please, please, please drink as little as you can. This is something you don't want to have happen to you. It's a nightmare, a living nightmare. And it's sad, and it's been making me sad, and it's been making me think about my own age and how much longer I have and all that. Weird how you get older, you start. I have a lot more humility than I used to have, I'll tell you that, because I realize how little I know about anything. And I don't know what's in store for me or anybody else. Yeah, okay, that's happiness. We are singing and talking about happy subjects. Happy subjects are what we talk about. Thank you very much. I'll be here all month. I have been watching a show that I have grown to love so much, and it's called The Orville. I don't know if any of you have heard about this, but The Orville is a show that is the brainchild of the incredibly talented Seth MacFarlands of Family Guy fame. And it's so good. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's dramatic. The humor doesn't feel forced, although in season 1 there were a number of forced humor moments, i.e. similar to Family Guy. And yet these are live human beings. And I found it hilarious, but when I went through and read some of the reviews for season 1, most of the critics hated that. I loved it. But this is live action, I mean human beings, not animation like Seth MacFarlands is known for. And it's basically Star Trek, The Next Generation, and the original Star Trek, and apparently some influence from the Twilight Zone. And it looks like one of the Star Trek series. It just really does, although they've renamed everything. So that, maybe for copyright laws, and also they want to make it clear it's not Star Trek, but it's so similar, and it's just wonderful. And I love the fact that the humor is good, and the character development is excellent, and the little quirkiness that Seth MacFarlands inserts into every episode is just brilliant. He's such a brilliant person. Yeah. So I love the characters. They're all so wacky and neurotic, and it's fantastic. It's like you're looking at a family on a ship, i.e. Family Guy, and they happen to be space people. Each of them is well developed and unique in their own ways, and they all have their quirks and flaws. And you really feel like you're watching a group of people who've been working together for years, and the chemistry between them is just fantastic. Let's listen to Seth MacFarlands as the captain addressing his new crew for the first time.
All right, Lieutenant Commander Bordas, our second officer. I've never met a single gender species before. Your entire species is male, isn't it?
That is correct, sir.
So there's probably not a lot of arguments about leaving the toilet seat up and that kind of thing, right?
No, Mocklins urinate only once per year.
Really? I'm up 2-3 times a night.
That is unfortunate.
It is.
All right. I love that. That was Seth MacFarlands addressing Boris about his urination habits. All right. Seth MacFarlane himself, yes, plays Captain Edward Ed Mercer. He would be the equivalent of Jean-Luc Picard, if you will, or Captain Kirk. Spock, how long will we be in Klingon space? That Captain Kirk. And, he's a great actor. And I am going to say this, and it doesn't take away from the show at all, but he just doesn't come across as somebody who would be running a starship. He just looks like a little boy, and he's very baby faced, and he just doesn't have that sort of like starship captain charisma. And it's not his acting; it's just the way he looks and his demeanor, Seth MacFarlane. But I'm glad he gave himself this part, and he does a great job with it. It's just like you wonder. And they try to get around that. I think he's aware of that. So the way they try to get around that is that he was given this starship. It's a smaller starship. It's not one of the main fleet. They gave it to him out of sympathy because his ex-wife, who's also in the show, tried to persuade the admiral to do this for him because they had just gotten divorced a year ago, and he was having a hard time, and she thought this would really help him, pull himself up by his bootstraps. So that's how they get around that, by saying, he is unlikely captain, and he talks about that all the time. So that's sort of brilliant. I'm glad that he has that self-awareness and that he wrote the show with that in there, so that we don't wonder, how could Ed Mercer be the captain of a starship? How could baby-faced little nerdy Seth MacFarlane be a starship captain? And then we know how. So that's kind of good. That's kind of cool. So what happened is the end of his marriage came. His wife Kelly. Let's see. So what happened was. He came home from work one day and he caught her in bed. This is episode 1, within like the first 30 seconds. He caught her in bed with this blue alien dude. And the alien, I guess when he gets stressed out or whatever, this blue spunky shit comes out of his forehead. And it like got all over her. It's hilarious. Oh, man. Yeah. So then Adrian Palicki is Kelly Grayson. That's his ex-wife, and also the commander of the ship. So it's second in line in the ship. And I think she played Wonder Woman in the remake of Wonder Woman. She's a very tall woman, very beautiful. She has these eyes that I've never seen on a human being before. The shape of them, they're mesmerizing. And every time I see her, it's like, God, look at those eyes. I mean, if you ever get a chance, Google her, and you'll see what I mean. Some of you probably already know who she is. I didn't. I wasn't familiar with her, but yeah, Kelly Grayson. She's great. She's great. And then, and they have this really complex relationship, her and Seth MacFarlane's character, Ed Mercer. So Adrienne Palicki, who plays Kelly Grayson, they're divorced, but then there's all kinds of complexities that come into it. And if you watch the episode, you'll see what those are. Then Penny Johnson, who I knew from 24 one season, and I really liked her in that. She played in 24 the first lady to the president of the United States. And I was impressed with her then. I really, really like this actress. Plays Dr. Claire Finn, and that would be the equivalent of Bones in the first Star Trek. She's a very emotional actress. She does a wonderful job. I don't know what else to say. Then there's Scott Grimes as Lieutenant Gordon Malloy. Now he is the best friend of MacFarland's character, Ed Mercer. They've known each other for years, and he's apparently like the best helmsman in the galaxy. And he's kind of a goofball, and Scott Grimes does a great job with it. Just does a great job. He's in real life, he's actually married to Adrienne Palicki. I hope I'm saying her name right. They're married in real life, and although I guess I looked it up, it looks like they've been having some marital problems, but I still think that they're still together. The interesting thing is she's like 5'11", and I think he's about 5'7", and she's absolutely gorgeous, and he just kind of looks like a regular next door dude. So I liked that. It gives all us average people hope. And then you have Peter McCone, who is Lieutenant Commander Bortus. This may be my favorite character in the show. He's the second officer aboard the USS Orville, and he's from the planet Moklis, a planet where the primary industry is weapons manufacturing and whose society is dominated by males. And this is explained in the first season as the result of the rarity of female births, one of which occurs when Bortus and his Moklan spouse, Clyden, bear a female at the end of the series' second episode. And the way that they bore this female is that Bortus laid an egg and had to sit on it for a number of weeks. So he had to take time off from being the second officer of the ship so that he could sit on his egg. Yes, that's correct. This is what I love about Seth MacFarlane. He just comes up with this hilarious stuff. And one of the episodes is just fantastic, where the infant undergoes a procedure to transform it into a male following a controversial legal ruling on the home planet. And so with stuff like this, it really also touches into current day events and conflicts that we're having right now in society, i.e. trans people. And it doesn't give any, like, you know, it doesn't give any easy answers. It's complicated, and the series really recognizes that, and I like that a lot. So the development of and the attitudes prevalent among Moklans towards females that Clyden himself harbors subsequently persist as a source of tension for the couple, and this continues throughout a number of episodes. And it's a sensitive matter for Boris in particular, who harbors resentment over it. And one of the outcomes of that is that Boris is harbored anger and rage and resentment over his daughter being forced to have a sex change at birth because he changed his mind. He didn't want it to happen. He becomes addicted to pornography, and the pornography is done on the holographic deck of the starship, and it causes a rift in the family because he lies about it, and he gets a some kind of like thumb drive equivalent with some wild scenario for the holographic deck, but it had a virus on it, and when he used it, this virus ran rampant all over the whole ship, and almost everyone died on the ship because the virus took over the ship because of his porn addiction. It was awesome. It was just I just love these episodes and what Seth MacFarlane has come up with. Then Halston Sage, who left after midway through season 2, I believe, or at the beginning of season 2, she was Lieutenant Alara Kitan, and she was great. She was chief of security, and she was from the planet Zelaya. That is a very high gravity planet, and it gives her greater than human strength and Earth gravity. So whenever they needed walls knocked down or someone beat up or whatever. She was right there. That was great. But she's gone now. But there's another Zilean who's taken over for her. Yes. There's some bunch of other characters. One of the other ones that I really like is Mark Jackson, who plays Isaac, who's I guess a robot, I'd have to call him, and he is the engineering officer. It's from a non-biological race on a planet Kalon 1. And boy, does that get complicated. There's some incredible episodes around him. So the whole thing is just a great show, and you should check it out. Yeah, it's on Hulu, and it's called The Orville. And so far there are 3 seasons. Yeah. What else? It's not a perfect show, but if you're a Trekkie like me, who grew up on Star Trek, which I did, the original one, I've seen every episode several times. You will love it. You will love it. I give this 2 massive thumbs up. All right, everybody. That's it for today. I have a great guest coming up next week. And it's the director of our play. I am in a play that is a benefit for Ukraine. And the money that we raise from our performances is going to a theater company in Ukraine, which is housing refugees from the war. And the director of this play is going to be our next guest. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I think you'll really like it. She's extremely interesting and fun and entertaining human being. She's so fun. She's interesting. And she's funny. And she's from New York. And her name is Amy Greenberg. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening today to my little green room. My little green room episode. Yes, and if you like this show, please tell your friends. Pass it on. Send them a link. And please give me a rating on Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcasting platforms, but Apple's the best one to leave it on. Please, please, please. Yeah, just go to Apple Podcasts, just Google it and give me 5 stars and some kind of incredible review, and I'll love you forever. And also, take care of yourselves. And if you wanted to send me a message, send it to rayrenati@gmail.com or greenroomonair@gmail.com or Raymo, Raymo, @raysgreenroom.com or on Instagram, where I am listed as Ray Renati, Renati. There's so many ways you can interact with me. And take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you on the boards. Have a great week, everybody.